Sweet. So why don't we start with you guys sharing your full story, not just agency story. I want the whole story. I heard before we started this podcast, you were about to be a billionaire, at least your family. So, well, I want to hear what that's about. And also heard that you guys were going to be like some of the best engineers for NASA or some shit. So I want to hear about that. And then now you started an SMMA, so we'll get into that as well. Yeah, let's hear it. So take it as far back as you want.
Yeah. So when my grandpa moved, my grandpa had a machine shop, like a CNC machining and manufacturing shop in India, in Delhi, right? But they moved to Canada and
What's
they started
a machine shop?
So that's just precision machining. So CNC mill, lathe, these we made on the lathe. Basically, machining is the process.
I still don't know what that means, by the way.
Yeah, maybe break it down.
Yeah, so machining is basically
like what could it be built? Like more explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old.
Okay, so it's basically the most precise way of creating something, right? So 3D printing is additive, right? Where you start with nothing and you add things on. Machining is the opposite, so it's subtractive. So you start with a block of metal and you start cutting away everything till you get specifically what you're looking for, right? So F1 parts, let's say parts for airplanes, anything that needs to be extremely precise, it's all done through the machining process.
I see.
Yeah, right? So that's what they used to do. So essentially, when my dad was in college, my dad went to college at George Brown. My grandpa with like 3 other, I think it was a professor from, was it George Brown or Sheridan or? One of the colleges in the Toronto area. A professor had 2 other students. They were working on creating a water jet. I'll explain what that is. A water jet cutting system that's the size of this desk. So basically what that is you know how there's laser cutters, right? So there's a water jet cutting thing as well, where they use water and sand, pressurize it, shoot it through a nozzle, and then you could cut through like granite, rocks, metals, anything. So like 2D objects. But typically you need like a facility like twice the size of this. You need compressors, you need all this water, you need all this sand and all that kind of crap, right? These guys came together and created a way to do it where it's like the entire thing is like the size of this table. So that was revolutionary because now they can make it portable. So that technology, they actually sold the rights to that technology to Ingersoll, which is one of the biggest water jet companies now, right? So me and my friends kind of talk about it all the time where it's like if we just kept that and grew it ourselves, we could have been like $1 billion company because they are $1 billion company now. Although we didn't actually, my grandpa didn't really have any like rights around that. It was more so like
the professor. And
yeah, right. My grandpa.
Do you
just
talk to your grandpa about that or?
Yeah, well, he's not alive anymore, but we never got a chance to talk about it. But with my dad, we definitely did.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's just like, well, yeah, it was cool. But then after what they ended up doing is just working for Ingersoll, like machining all the parts for their things.
What do you think the lesson is in that? You know, I feel like that's a really powerful lesson.
I think what we got from that is having a general understanding of business as well, how it actually runs, right? Because even them, they're immigrants, they're starting a business. They're not natural entrepreneurs, right? So they don't know how to structure deals like that. Like how can you sell the rights but still like financially make money from this product that they're selling the rights
Maybe even
for,
collect
right?
dividends or something. Right?
Dividends or something like that. I guess that side, the financial literacy, that's something that a lot of our Punjabi community, we lack on a lot, is we'll do everything good, but like financially, like we just don't talk about it, right? So if you don't have a conversation about financials, money, you're not going to learn about it, right? Yeah, exactly. So I think that's the biggest thing, learning how finance works, how to structure deals, right?
And then I guess also making sure that there's something in it for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Well.
Exactly, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right, especially if you've created something that's revolutionary to an entire industry.
Wow, so your grandpa
It's
revolutionized the precision machinery industry.
Yeah, the water jet industry revolutionized it, changed it forever.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think they brought him on specifically because they couldn't figure out how to create like a very strong pressure to actually cut the piece of metal. So that's what he engineered, I guess, right?
Yeah.
And then do you know did your dad ever talk about if your grandfather regretted not making money off of it? Or
from what I know, my grandpa wasn't really obsessed with making money. He wasn't really obsessed with making money. For him, it was more like, let's just get everyone set and then set up our entire community as well, right? So a lot of people would be going to the gym or will make new friends, and then later we talk to the parents, and then the conversation comes up like, oh, what do your parents do? Oh, or my parents do machining. Oh, wait, what shop is it? Oh, it's that shop. Wait, when I came, I used to work at that shop.
Wow.
And that's happened multiple times, right? And then that's what my grandpa
That
was
must be a
more
good feeling.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool. Yeah.
How do you guys feel about money?
Dude, I want to get rich.
I guess you learned a lesson from,
I need a
Making
brown
sure
Bugatti.
Oh man, that's funny.
Now people
Match
say,
my bugs with my Bugattis. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. That's crazy.
So then now my dad still has a machine shop, still runs the machine shop, that kind of stuff. So then he went to school for electromechanical engineering, which is basically robotics. I went to school for mechanical engineering, so that was really what we wanted to do, right? Is get into that field and then help my dad grow that business. I didn't really want to be an employee, and that was going really well too. I could tell you about the NASA story as well. So in Ryerson, I studied engineering at Ryerson.
Is that in Toronto?
Yeah, Toronto. Yeah. When I was there was a design team where we created drones, but like personal sized drones. So like you could go and sit inside and fly it wherever the you want, right? And we made it all out of carbon fiber, and the competition was hosted by Boeing, but it was hosted at NASA Ames research facility in California. So we stayed there for a week. By the way, it was insane. And like it was really, really cool. On the other side was a military base. So there's like Blackhawks coming in and out. It was crazy. Really, really cool. There's like concrete buildings all over the place. Like no windows, no nothing. Not allowed to go there. It was a very secretive kind of thing. It was really cool. Over there, I got offers for Boeing as well, things like that, right? It was actually a really insane offer too. We didn't talk about like salaries or anything, but he's like, yo, like I can hook you up with a job anywhere in California. He's like, I understand you guys are in Toronto. Let me know if you don't want to move to California, or find you something in Toronto. Blah blah blah. So it was insane. So
and then you were like, I'm starting an SMMA. Sorry.
Yeah, literally. So you want to explain how we actually got into it?
Like, sorry, no, I got to start my SMMA.
That's literally almost how it went.
Yeah. I guess to understand how our strategy worked as well in terms of marketing our SMMA as well, you have to understand how Bramton works, right? Because, for example, just like how our grandpa came, there's like thousands of other, like that huge generation that just came to Canada and did the exact same thing, right? So like my grandpa he came to Brampton and taught himself French, went to Montreal, landed a contract, and these are all the same type of people that started businesses, right? So now when we forward to our time, now they have those people's kids who are either carrying on their business or they're starting new businesses, right? And then from there, that's kind of how our strategy started tying into like, let's target these people in Brampton, right? To just leverage that to get clients.
For those of you guys or for the people that don't know, what's Brampton?
Brampton is a city about 40 to 30 minutes right outside of Toronto.
And the best drivers.
Yeah, the best drivers.
So it seems like a lot of the Indian community moved to Brampton.
Yeah, almost the entirety, like that was like the main point of where everyone moved into. And it still is. So now, first it was like families moving in, and now it's a lot of Indian students, right? From Punjab, or like Punjabi students that are coming here to study. And it's become a wild place.
You guys are very smart. Like, it's very obvious. You guys have very high IQ. You getting sent to NASA for engineer. Was it a competition you said?
Yeah. It was a design.
Engineering competitions. Why start an SMMA? And I just want to hear your thoughts. I'm not gonna share my thoughts. Okay, I'm just gonna ask questions.
So I guess
it actually all started.
I would say the brains is this guy, right? And to keep me in school was probably more of a job for my parents, right? I would not stay in school. Like I remember in high school, the teacher called my parents and said he missed like 60% of class.
70.
Really?
Yes.
70.
Okay, maybe. Okay, if we're being specific, 74%.
Yeah.
Of my
Are you
science.
serious?
Yeah.
Let me tell you
So
something.
where do you go?
Yo, so
Like,
I
you
would
have to
just walk home.
I'll just go. I'm
He'd
like
just walk, after
lunchtime,
lunch,
I'm out.
he came home.
Yeah.
He would just come home. We had the same art teacher, right? So in the morning, I would have art class. At night, he would have art class, right? And this art teacher was like, yo, your brother doesn't come to my class, right? So
What would you do at home?
I
Just
would
watch TV?
No, I would go home, maybe chill with my grandma. She's watching like old 80s
Yeah.
movies. It's more fun than like learning what's like math. Like I have no interest in that. Yeah.
That's crazy. That's wild. You're like, I'm just gonna. You weren't even doing bad things. It sounds like.
No, it
No,
became
no.
first. It became like I would call my parents from in elementary school. It was like a habit from when I was a kid. I'll call my parents. I'll be like, my stomach's hurting. Pick me up, please, right? And then I'll make this whole story.
You just knew you were like, this is not it. You're just
Yeah,
like,
no.
From
I
like
couldn't.
day one, he was off it, off it.
People were surprised I made it through high school, but when I made it through like the 4 years, I'm like, well, you guys take it too seriously, right? But basically,
Would
that
you still
whole-
do your homework?
I outsourced it, but yeah.
What do you mean, bro? These,
I used to. Here's my strategy. Even in college, all I did was first I would go into class, find the most smartest people, become friends with them, and just create an exchange. Be like, look, I'll help you with this, right? You just help me with this, right? But I actually never used to do anything. They were just really nice people. So they would help me out with their exams, this, that.
is that what? So is that why he's your business partner? No, I'm just kidding.
No, 100%. 100%.
He's
That's
like,
exactly it. Yeah.
That's messed up, bro.
Bro, what the fuck?
You gotta put him to work. You gotta put him to work.
No, but he's the brains of everything, right? I kind of like, okay, you kind of figured
It
out.
sounds
you
like
tell
you're
me.
the brains on. You're the brains of the brains. You know.
Brains, it's a very
You know, I spoke with a billionaire, Paul Orfilia, who sold Kinko's to FedEx for a few $1 billion. He said to me, the biggest hack to getting wealthy, not rich, wealthy, is to figure out how to make money while being as lazy as humanly possible. He said, because if not, you're always going to be the bottleneck to everything.
Yeah.
So he would still work really hard, but he was always optimizing for as much efficiency and laziness as possible in the process. So he'd be like, if he had a rule where if someone would come to him with a problem, he would never help them. He'd always be like, what would you do? And then he would just let them fail and do that, even if he knew it was the wrong decision.
That's interesting.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Okay, so you weren't crazy about academics, and then you were just going to go into engineering because of your parents.
Yeah, it just made sense. Like my cousin had a job in Amazon from, the same course. So I just
Robotics.
took that. But what I would do is I would go to school, but whenever I would have a gap between my classes, I would just go hop on YouTube and see what other ways there are to make money, right? And then I went through the same thing, seeing Iman Gaji, his videos. I actually came through a lot of your videos on that time too. And that just kind of planted a seed in my mind. And then I would just keep going to Starbucks, sitting there, just searching what I can do.
This was in college.
This was in college.
During college, yeah.
This was in college. And then I was like, you know what? I don't have money right now, right? I'm a student, right? How can I start a business with the lowest cost, but I don't even care. It's going to have a lower risk, right? So how can I start something like that, right? Then I actually looked into affiliate marketing because you buy a domain, do some marketing, drive some traffic. But that figured out it was going to take a very, very long time to actually build up, right? And then I came to SMMA through Iman Gaji, right? But it just, I don't know about his branding. Just kind of felt off to me. And then yours made a little bit more sense. So I just kept in my head.
Mine felt not as off.
Yeah, it seemed more real to me. From there, basically, I started doing, you could say as a freelancer, I started posting videos for people here in their small restaurants. And then, long story short, it started building up a bit. And we had around, I think, 5 clients at that time. He was still in university, I was still in college. And then I was like, yo, you want to just kind of help me build this up, right? Because it's at 5K. Imagine if we get 5 clients paying us 2K, we can make 10K, right? It was simple as that, right? From there, we're like, okay, let's build this up together from there. Yeah.
And then that's how I started. And then I
So
started helping him.
were you really focused on engineering?
Originally, yeah.
Yeah.
My goal was to be either an engineer for NASA or an engineer on an F1 team. Now my goals have changed to just buying an F1 team.
That's actually dope. So you were engineering hardcore, really committed, and then you were like, why would I do this? Or no? Were you just like, sure, let's
Actually, yeah. Well, to be honest, in the beginning, I was just like, okay, whatever. I'll
This
just
is a
help
big
him out. We'll see
opportunity
how this
switch,
goes.
you know?
And then, yeah, naturally, I never really wanted to be an employee anyways, right? So it was either taking over my dad's business or helping him out with his business, right? So I'm like, okay, whatever. Let's just see how this goes. So then I started helping him out, and then we started growing together. But then there was quickly a cap. There's only so much work 2 people can do. Then after we're like, okay, we need to find someone that can help us build an actual team and start expanding, right? Maybe even help us charge more per client, right? At that time we were charging anywhere from 300 to 500 a client.
Yeah.
It was insanely cheap, right, for what we were doing. But we were new. It's we understand that you can't just go straight to 10K a month kind of thing, right? So then we hopped on to Agency Lab. And then from there, we learned how to actually build systems and build a team, actually learn sales. And it wasn't just like, hey, you should hire us, right? It was like a legitimate system on like how to do shit, right?
Yeah.
But then, so we started with this content creation thing.
So you were like, I'm going to do this agency.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just like, well, this just makes
And
sense.
were you still in college at that point? Or were you
Yeah.
graduated?
I was still in university. I think at this point,
This was like a year ago?
yeah.
It was more so my side of me searching and all that was probably 2 years ago. And then I kind of took a break between because I didn't take it seriously. I didn't like treat it as a business, just freelancing. So then I brought him on. I think his main thing was like
building systems.
building systems, right? And then
That's the
he
first thing I was
he
like, bro.
understood. I actually used to ask him a lot of questions. I'm like, okay, I'm doing ads for this client. Now this other person's asked me to do content. Should I like go do content? And then he'd be like, just do it. Like you'll learn some, right? So then every single time I'll
good
just go to
advice.
him to ask him questions about anything. Just made sense because he can. It's kind of like I need like if you give me a piece of bread, right? Give me a few crumbs, right? It takes me a little bit time to understand what I'm eating, but if you just give him the crumbs, he'll understand. Okay, I'm eating a piece of bread, right? So then that's the main thing that he's helped a lot with.
Just in the beginning, it was just really like there was like no really like
That was a weird analogy, by the way. I just got to say.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah.
I did like it. It was just a little weird.
Yeah, in the beginning, there was just no system. Like, it was just like, what's going wrong? Like, there's this going wrong, that going wrong. So I'm like, okay, well, in engineering, the first thing they teach you is to break everything down into systems, subsystems, and then break those down into subsystems. Because the analogy was that if a car goes wrong, like if your car's not moving, if you don't know what the systems are in the car, like how are you going to figure out what part exactly went wrong? So then we just started creating systems around things. Obviously, they weren't perfect, but they were something, right? And then from there, we're like, okay, crap, this can actually be something, right? Because mathematically, it made sense. We're like, okay, we're making 2 to what, 5K?
It was almost 5.
Around like almost 5K a month. And that was just straight to us, right? We didn't have no employees, right? But we just reinvested that all into like learning stuff, courses.
coaching.
We actually bought first year like little small mini courses, right? And then a week
I took 'em,
later,
like on the website.
yeah.
I took those off the website, by the way, because I started giving everything away for free, but I didn't realize it was still on the website. So for like a few months, people kept paying like $97. I was like, I
that
gotta
was us.
remove those.
Yeah, that was us. And then after, I'm like, oh, this is like,
I'll treat you guys to lunch today. So to make up for it.
thank you. And then after, like a week later, we're like, fuck it, let's just buy the whole thing, right? Then we hopped on a call with Adrian, and then he helped. Yeah, so that was amazing. And then from then on, it just kept getting better and better and better.
But you guys went into dental first, right?
So actually, yeah, we left content because we entered it hoping that you would, like, your team would help us create like a team around this. But then everything in the course was all designed for ads. Like, yo, crap, this actually makes sense. Ads actually makes a little bit more sense. It's easier to outsource, right? The biggest thing was like, I don't want to sit there in the middle of a party in the corner, like posting shit. Like, that's not what I want my life to be. So I knew we had to build a team. Then ads just made sense. So we switched to ads. And we're like, okay, let's just pick something.
How did you pick dentists?
We actually sat down and, so you want to explain that?
Yeah, so we're like, okay, how can we set ourselves for success here? Which obviously, I don't think it was a good idea, but we were sitting there and we were like, okay, chiropractors, these guys have a lot of resources for chiropractors, dental and whatnot, right? And then we're like, okay, a recession is coming, right? What's most likely to stay in business during recession? The healthcare industry, right? So then we're like, okay, maybe we can do something in the healthcare industry, right? But then we're like, I don't think anything's really scalable there. So we're like, let's just do dentists. That's legit our thought process was.
Bro, that's beautiful, by the
literally.
way.
Yeah.
That's what the thought process should be for picking a niche.
Yeah, we didn't just like roll the dice on anything.
Yeah.
We had a bunch of stuff, right? We were debating between like the auto space and this space, blah, 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 blah. But it was kind of like, okay, well, if the recession's coming, and then what's the first thing people are not going to put their money into? Okay, no one's going to be buying Ferraris. So everything
Unless
in the
you're
auto's
rich,
gone.
you know, 'cause then the price drops.
Well, yeah, but like not everyone's rich.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, no,
So we're like, okay, what? Like, how do we
Like
set
most
ourselves up
people,
for
the
success?
masses, yeah.
Exactly. So then that was our thought process, and then we went through that, and I was basically like starting from the ground up again.
Tell us about that experience. Did you guys? I know you guys got some clients. Took a
Yeah,
little while.
Yeah. So we started with what, free trials?
Yeah, we started with 30-day.
The voice cracks.
Yeah, we started with 30-day trials. Yeah, we started with trials, and then when we started putting a price to everything, there was a lot of objections, right? Mainly because dentists are more prestigious people, right? They're very well put together, and then we're kind of more chill and relaxed, and we got beards, we got turbans. So then they were more likely very, very like skeptical. Like, am I getting scammed by an air duct cleaning service here, right? So then what happened was we hopped.
Racist dentists.
Yo, it's
That's
so
fucked up.
Yeah. You could talk about the call.
Yeah, so you actually helped us solve this. So we hopped on a one-on-one call with you, and the first question I had was like, bro, everyone thinks we're scamming them. Everyone thinks we're scamming them. Like, we're Indians working in our basements. Like, that's a recipe for a scam, right?
Yeah.
So, like,
That's not what I said, by the way.
that's not what he said.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
not what he
yeah.
said. But so like, he helped us find a way around this. But basically, what we did was well, the first thing we had trouble with was our language. Right? We had to go, yo, what's good, bro? Yo, yeah, man, we're gonna help you go viral. We're gonna help you get all this shit, this, that. And we're like, yo, we can't talk to dentists like that.
Yeah, they're
You know?
very like.
They're very, very like,
Professional.
Yeah,
put
and-
together, well
yeah.
put together. Yeah.
yeah, right. So once we got over that, it was just getting people on a call, right? So we would DM, like, how many DMs are we sending?
I don't know. I brought it to like maybe like 200 a day, and then it just
We're
wasn't
booking, like,
working.
no
'cause
calls.
We're booking no
Yeah.
calls. I'm like, what's going on? I'm making new accounts. Maybe do I need to buy like old accounts?
And we
Yeah,
spent
do that.
so much time on reiterating on like on the scripts.
Maybe tried emails.
Everything.
A little bit of cold calls.
Cold,
Didn't work.
everything. Nothing worked.
Yeah, I think like
yeah,
that. A
was
lot
the-
of people are worried about their accent, how they look, all that stuff. But if you lean into it, you could actually make it a strength. Like
Yeah.
Exactly.
there's a guy in Agency Lab who's Italian, and he sounds like a Mario.
Yeah.
You know, so I was like, dude, just be like Mario the marketer, and then people, it's like people like it, and then it's memorable.
Yeah, they'll
you
bring their
know?
guards down.
But then
to
you could
it.
be like, but my name's not Mario. So
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
and then people now think you're funny as well.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, yeah,
And they're like, oh,
yeah.
I like this guy.
Yeah, and then it's like, okay, like, he's cool.
Exactly. That's
And
all
then they're
it
like,
is.
okay, I want someone cool marketing my business.
That's it.
And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
that's-
But I think people are like, what are they gonna think? You know,
Yeah,
and then they can feel that
Mhm.
it's like, I don't want to work with it. You know, this person is nervous, you know,
Yeah.
or hesitant,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
so.
I think one of the biggest indicators of someone's confidence, like, at least if they're faking it or not, is how comfortable they are with themselves. Right? That's at least what I've seen. And then when we made that switch, instantly on the demo calls, you could see the switch. Like, I was a very different person after that in terms of confidence on these calls, right? Because before, I'm like, in the back of my head, I'm just thinking about, oh, fuck, I got to keep reminding him that I'm not a scam. I'm not a scam. I'm not a scam. You know, like, oh, I'm not like blah, blah, blah. But then it switches to like, yeah, like, we're just two buddies working on how are we going to make money? That's it. That mentality switch really made a big difference in the demos too.
That's really cool. And then so you guys were in dental for a little while, and then you went back to content.
When
And then
we-
what's the biggest month you guys have had at this point? 30?
So before we even switched to,
No, just in general, right
in
now.
general, the best month we had was around like 30 something, like low 30s.
And then how long have you guys been doing this officially, SMMA?
Like, from the beginning, it's been from what?
Total probably 5 years if we counted the freelancing aspect.
Everything, yeah.
Maybe
No, I would say when you guys teamed up, we're like, we're going to
teamed
do
up
this.
probably 2 years.
Teamed up 2 years,
Yeah.
but the entire thing, like, 5 years. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So I think that's a really good point. Do you feel like a lot of people think it's going to be faster than it is? Because,
Yes.
Yeah.
you know, I ran my first Google ad when I was 18. I didn't even start so I knew about marketing. I didn't even start my agency till I was 24. Then I made my first million by 26. But if you think about it,
Yeah.
that's 8 years later from doing my first Google ad. I had gotten a marketing and sales job for 2.5 years. So I had experience talking to people, doing account management, selling people, doing marketing. By the time I even started my agency, and it was like late 26. So it was like almost like when I started at 24, and then it was like almost 3 years later. And I was stuck, for example, at like 50K a month for like a year and a half of that. Like, we couldn't figure it out. We couldn't, like, probably around where you guys are at, 30 to 60, and then boom, 250,000 within 6 months.
Wow.
So then, but it takes time, is what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
Do you guys feel like that's the case?
100%.
Yeah. I had to make a deal with my dad. My dad's like, what was it? I think it was just last year. Because, like, we didn't really start making money until like last year. Or probably really like the last few months. Like, enough for at least my dad to be like, okay, you know what? Like, I don't need to bother you guys about anything. Right? Because first he's like, bro, just get back into engineering, get back into engineering. So I'm like, okay, just give me a year, right? And if I can't like prove to you that like, you know, this is something that both of us can make a living on and actually support our own families, and then like you guys as well, right? Because in Indian families, it's very like culturally we don't just leave our parents, like we don't move out. I mean, some people might, but it's very traditional to take care of your parents, right? To replace their incomes, right? So that was their main concern. Will you be able to replace our incomes? Yeah, recently we've been doing really good. So now he's just like, yo, just keep at it. And they like first they were very like, bro, like, do you guys even know what you're doing? You know, and now they're like, bragging
I don't know, dude. You're like, I haven't gone to school since I was 6 years old.
You know what's funny? They like my parents like lost hope in him. They're like,
First,
they're
no,
like,
it's
bro,
interesting.
That's
First,
not funny. That's not funny.
yeah. So then when he started this, they're like, okay, at least he's doing something.
yeah.
That's good.
Like at least he's doing something. But then my parents became very, very supportive.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
as soon as we even picked up like a little bit of traction,
That's
right?
amazing.
Like even just a little bit. We weren't even making money. Like just a little bit. My dad's like, okay, shit, you guys have something, right? So he helped us out a lot, right?
That's really cool.
At least like helped us set up. So now we've built like a studio for our clients, but we converted the front little portion of his machine shop into our office studio. We built it all ourselves too. Like
That's
everything,
really
like,
cool.
Yeah. So he's helped us out a lot.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys have great parents.
Amazing,
Oh, yeah.
amazing. Yeah, my mom makes us lunch every day because she's like, I don't want you spending money on that. Keep the money, spend it on ads. So they're
That's
all on
awesome.
board with it. Like everyone's like helping us. Like everyone, like they're trying to set us up for success as much as possible. I ran
That's
out
really
of breath
cool.
during that.
Part of why I started Agency Lab was to build community, because I feel like entrepreneurship is so lonely and hard.
Yeah.
But it's really cool to hear that you guys have that right at home, you know? So I guess to recap, you guys went to, for the initial goal was engineering. Your initial goal was, I don't know,
I have
relax.
no clue. Just YouTube. Let's watch YouTube.
YouTube.
Yeah, it's kind of why. Not taking action on YouTube. And
Yeah.
then, and then eventually you guys came together to start the agency. You said, you know what, I want to do this entrepreneurship thing, give it a shot. It was hard at first. And then things started to click, started to get smaller clients. Then eventually you're like, you know what, let me start a dental agency. And then you went back to content, which, by the way, I think when we talked about this on the Facebook Messenger call, like I was like, that's really good, because part of why everyone fails in SMMA and struggles is because they're just copying what has worked instead of really asking, what am I going to be the best at? Where's my competitive advantage? And you guys had already done content. You already had that figured out. And I think what's crazy is now you guys have leaned into who you are even more.
A lot more.
And like that's your angle.
Entire angle. Like that's entirety of our marketing is just us and Bramton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Indian community, like that's our entire angle on everything.
But that's innovating. That's real entrepreneurship. That's problem solving. Just like your grandfather innovated the water pressure,
jet,
water jet machinery industry. You guys are coming in and innovating the content industry in your own way. And now you guys are at 30K a month, and you have like too many clients. You can't even
Oh, yeah.
handle more.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think
it's too much.
from just when we got off of dental and we started doing content. Well, actually I started doing DMs for DMing businesses in Brampton for content. And we got
So
a
you
few
should probably
interests.
tell why we went back to, right?
Oh, yeah.
So when we started, right, we did a really good job with all of our people, right? So like we were growing accounts from like 2,000 to 18,000 followers in like 3 months, right? We were helping people open up like today. Street Bites is a restaurant we work with. He signed up again with us. He's an amazing guy. He was only at like one location. Now he's got like 5, right? So like in the beginning, like we helped a lot of businesses grow in the beginning for very, very cheap. So then we had a lot of referrals. So while we're working in this dentistry thing, we're constantly getting calls about like, hey, do you guys still do that? Do you guys still do that? Hey, I have a jewelry business. Do you still do that? Oh, I have a car wash. Do you still do that? Hey,
You weren't listening to the business. That was the business speaking to you.
Yeah,
Exactly.
And we're just like, no, fuck that. We don't want to do that. And we're like, okay, shit. Okay, maybe we should try that again, right? Because we got in the content space very, very early when no one even wanted it. Like no one wanted it.
At least in Brampton.
At least in Brampton, yeah, no one wanted it. Like they were kind of just like, what's the point? You're just gonna make me look like an idiot. All my clients are gonna run away, right? Because I don't want to. Because they see Instagram and TikTok, they see a bunch of kids dancing, like that. You know what I mean? So then they didn't really see how it was applicable to their business. But then while we were doing this dentistry thing, this Instagram thing in the background was taken off. Businesses were taken off from just Instagram and TikTok, right? We didn't really realize because we're like, yo, fuck that. We're just going to do TikTok ads, right? Because like, okay, we understand content. Instead of doing with Facebook ads, everyone was doing that. We're like, let's do TikTok ads, right? And then even in Canada, that was like untouched. Because remember, we were talking about that before too, is in America, I guess that became very saturated as well. But in Canada, TikTok ads is untouched. Like dentists didn't even know that existed, that you could run ads on TikTok. You know what I mean? Like they didn't even know. So it was very easy to like bring people on. At least we started bringing up some traction there. But then again, we started getting a bunch of calls and then.
Yeah, and then we're like, okay, let's to test it out without putting money in ads. We just like, okay, let's send a few DMs, put together a script, send it to like 50 businesses. And then I think within that night, like 3-4 of them already messaged back, which is a big difference from DMing in dentistry because there's so many people sending the same message, right? And then we're like, okay, how about let's cold call them, right? So then we tried actually niching down to wedding planners. And we're like, let's just cold call wedding planners, see if they need help with Instagram. Because then on our feed, we were seeing there's a lot of like wedding people. Maybe that was just the algorithm showing us wedding shit. But
That's weird.
yeah, that was your algorithm.
No, you know why I think we actually did it? Was because I think we saw some
Bro's
posts about
trying
how-
to explain himself right now. He got exposed.
Hear me out.
Exposed.
Let me tell you something.
He's gonna go home. My parents are gonna be
No,
like,
you know what it actually was? It was my dad. My dad was like, bro, you should get into the wedding industry.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
because Indians spend a lot of money on weddings. Like our weddings cost
are
like anywhere
huge.
from like 50 to 100K.
they last like a week long.
Yeah, they're
one
like
of my best
1,000
friends.
people.
I just went to an Indian wedding
Yeah.
for one of my best friends. And
They're
it was
amazing.
wild.
It's wild. They're like a week long. It's amazing.
Bro, it was like a lot. He was like, I've never met like 90% of these people.
Yeah,
Dude, in
that's how it is.
COVID, so my sister got married in India, right? In the middle of COVID. Like it's at its peak, right? We had like 500 people there.
It's crazy.
We
Bro,
just,
I
like,
ate so much
partying.
food.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you guys go hard.
Yeah, we
it's
go
like
hard.
it's like in the morning too.
Yeah, no, we don't
Yeah.
stop.
I was
We
like,
don't
what?
stop. It's one day after another. It's just
Like 7. It's like 9 a.m.
Yeah, we love
You
it.
guys are
Yeah.
dancing.
Yeah.
It's like, you guys are very funny. You guys are gonna be very successful. I hope you guys know that.
God bless you.
You know, at first when you guys came in here, I was like, let's go and do some engineering and like revolutionize an industry. But
Oh,
I
yeah.
actually
Yeah.
think that you guys could be incredible creative minds. I feel like you guys were just ignoring the fact that the business was telling you, yo, this is what you guys are good at.
Definitely.
You're literally getting
Yeah.
people coming to you. Most people are like, okay, what did Joel do? I have to do that. But like, this is gonna sound a little like woo woo, but you have to follow your own path. You know, like you can still do agency, right?
Yeah.
But how you get there can look totally different. Like there's a guy in in agency lab, Christian Orsos, who has a systems agency. And he was working with realtors way back when, and I'm like, he's not gonna make it with realtors. There's no chance of him winning with realtors. It's just not him at all. Like it's a very hardcore sales heavy. Like as soon as he accepted, I'm a systems guy, and he started offering GHL build outs, complex CRM build outs, like tech support. He's charging up to $4,000 a month. I feel like I got so scripted and kind of robotic and just like the same over and over again that I'm just like trying to have more fun with it. Trying to do things that I like, and if it gets less views, screw it. Not the goal isn't more views all the time. I think there's times and place for example, now that a lot of people know Joel Kaplan in the agency space, maybe I don't have to optimize for views.
Now you can just do what you like.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe do you guys resonate with that, or
Yeah, we just talk about what we want to talk about. That's it.
it sounds
Right,
like
that-
it, right?
yeah.
Your content, you're just yeah.
If
Like-
something pops off, it pops off. And we're like, okay, let's just do more of that
Yeah.
until we completely dry that out, and then we try something else. I think that's really it is, because how long can you stretch one thing for, right? You got to keep consistently doing different things. Something pops off, just do a lot of that for a little bit, and then keep testing. Yeah.
So then what do you think like really clicked for you guys that made the jump to 30K a month? Because it happened pretty quickly.
Yeah, like very quick. I think it was just switching into. So typically, when people niche down, they niche down in terms of industry. We decided not to niche down in terms of industry. We decided to niche down in terms of area. Right? We're like, okay, we're only gonna service businesses in Brampton because they all look like us. They all resonate with us. We resonate with them. And actually, so there's two different types of communities in Brampton, right? Because first of all, it's just 70 to 80% all immigrants, right? Either they were like first, second generation immigrants, or they just moved in, right? Like they're either students or something like that, right? So we were born and raised in Brampton, right? But a lot of these immigrants that came in and started the business, they have trouble reaching out or at least like bringing in customers that are like us. And then people that were born and raised here and start the businesses, they have a lot of trouble resonating with people that are immigrants, right? Because it's like kind of like people that had to build up their own things with people that were kind of inherited a lot of things, right? So there's a little bit of a mentality switch. So we became like the bridge for a lot of people because we look like this side, but we talk like this side. So a lot of people signed on because they wanted us to help them bring the other side of Brampton that they weren't able to get, right? And so naturally our marketing angle just became, let's just focus on our community in Brampton, right? But that obviously, I mean, Instagram's algorithm's insane, so it like just show like it trickles out to other businesses, other cities as well, right? So that's the biggest switch we made, just focusing on our community, and then just focusing on helping our community grow.
I think
How fast did you guys? Where were you guys at, and then how fast did you jump?
We went from like
came on?
0 to 30K in like 3 months.
You know, I talk a lot about the popcorn effect. It just, you have to wait and then poof, it just explodes.
It really felt like that.
Exactly.
Can you
was that.
can you speak on that?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people are like, I'm at 0, it's not working, it's not working, I'm done.
So two things. One.
That's
one
why I
was-
always say you have to be a little crazy because you almost have to keep
Yeah, you
going even if
Yeah.
things aren't clicking, which is like
Yeah.
in real life that doesn't
And
make
it-
any
it-
sense.
Exactly.
And like for a while, we even hid that we did this because it's like in family events, they're just, what do you do? What do you do? And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm still doing that. I'm still doing engineering, blah, blah. But like we're doing this in the back end because like traditionally, they're just be like, what the are you doing? Like you're not making any money, and you're making like stupid videos for people. So for a while, we actually hid it until like only recently people started discovering that we do this actually, like in our family and our own friend circles and things like that. Just because I guess one of the hardest things to keep going, right? Maybe you could chime in on this as well, is that like everyone else, because you're not doing good for a while, right? A lot of people will tell you just do something else. So to just cut that out, we just didn't tell them that we were doing it. So if you don't hear it, you don't have to deal with it.
I think the people you have around you makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Right. So like we're very similar in terms of our mindset. Personality is completely different, right? But where we want to go and what our goals are, they're completely aligned, right? So what would happen is, I would go to him and be like, look, I want to hit. Let's create a plan. We got to hit 10K in 10 days. That's what we're gonna do. Okay, 10K in 10 days, and then he would be like, okay, you know what? Realistically, we're not gonna hit that, right? How are you gonna book that many intros? Because my job was to book the intros, right? This is a mistake I feel like a lot of people might make at the start. Is I want to make 10K. I want to hit 10K. I want to hit 10K. How are you gonna do that, right? So then I would hop on the replay calls and see how everyone else did it. Just re-engineer like, okay, I gotta book these many. This is our pricing. I gotta book these many intros. My options are DMs, emails, cold calls, and I got to do DMs. These many DMs, got to do these many emails, right? So he brought a lot of the logic into it, and mine was like, oh, we got to hit this, we got to hit this, we got to hit this, right? But if I was just me by myself, I probably wouldn't have hit it because I'm thinking way too far ahead, way too far-fetched, and not putting an actual action plan into it. And he came into bringing logic into it.
And do you think that 10K is too big of a goal? If you're at 0, would one client be a better goal? Like, or do you guys still like that 10K goal?
I think that keeping 10K in mind is good, so you make sure that you're pushing yourself to do these.
You have to break it up into steps.
Yeah, but
That's the thing,
but-
because everyone has that goal of 10K, but they're just like, okay, obviously you need to get one client, but people forget that they need to get one client first. You know what I mean?
But I think aiming at 10K, you should probably think that I'm going to get one client. But if I just focus on getting on one client, it's going to take you a lot longer in terms from a mindset point of view. But if I just keep focusing on 10K, I know that first client is going to come.
Like, how did you keep pushing when things weren't clicking? Because it didn't click for a while. Things work in ones, threes, in ones and threes. So like 1K a month is really hard, then 3K a month, then 10K a month, then 30K. So you guys broke that. Like this is good news for you guys. Most people break past 30K, get to 100K.
Nice.
I mean,
I like where this is going.
I think it's just taking what you've already done and scaling
Volume.
it. Exactly. You already have a system in place to make money, right?
Yeah.
It's now just, okay, what needs to happen for it to happen a lot?
Exactly.
Which is an
Cutting
easier
up
problem to
bullshit.
solve than like, than the problem of like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. How do I
Yeah,
figure
yeah.
this all out?
Exactly.
But how do you push when you haven't figured all those
You just
things
gotta
out?
weed out all the bullshit, right? Like when we first started, if anyone wasn't like aligned with our goals, or I felt like that kind of energy is gonna maybe one day discourage me from doing this, I just cut it off. So we would just like hide in my dad's shop and work. Right? So he'd have his office. We'd set up like makeshift tables and just work there because no one came to my dad's shop, right? So we just worked there, and then we'd be there from what, like
all day.
all day. Like
I would bring up
8 a.m. to like.
I'll put another perspective to this. Get a construction job. Right. So something we've realized, both of us, we worked in, like, I've worked like maybe 3 months in construction. He worked in construction as well, like just landscaping and whatnot. And those guys are hard, bro. Like they work really, really hard in the sun. And I think building those principles, right? Because a lot of people think I'm just going to start an SMMA and I'm going to make a lot of money, right? But who's going to work hard, right? Where are you going to build that muscle to work hard? Right.
Also, the biggest thing is like I do not want to go back to like fucking standing there on the porch in the middle of the sun with a sledgehammer, breaking someone's porch just so they could get a new one.
Yeah.
Like that sucks.
But then,
I'm never doing that again.
You still have to finish the work at the end of the day because you're not the boss, right? So you're in the sun, you have like one water bottle, and you have to keep working at it, right? And those, I think, if you don't have to do it through the construction. If you just work on building those qualities in yourself, that's what's gonna push you when you're not booking any intros for a full week.
But at some point where you're just like, I don't believe this is possible. Like, how did you not lose conviction? That's
No,
what I
never.
want to share. That's what I want to share with people, because that's where most people give up, is when they're like, this is not clicking. I don't even believe this is possible. And as soon as the conviction is gone, it's gone.
It was the group, right? Like the Facebook group, the Discord chats, or even like these live calls. It's like everyone's doing it.
Yeah.
Like there's like on the call, there's like what, maybe 10, 20 other people that are doing like 30, 50, 40K. And I'm like, whoa, like, well, there's something wrong, right? Like, why haven't we done it yet? So it's clearly possible.
You got to point the fingers at yourself, right?
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's your own. You're limiting yourself, right? And
Like
if
we
you just,
never really questioned that it's not going to work.
yeah,
Because
we
we've
just knew
seen
that
so many
it's-
people that have made it work. So it's
Yeah.
like, why can't you? That's just been our always mentality. We never thought like, oh, what if this doesn't work? Right?
Yeah,
It was just
people
like,
have told me,
make
they're
it
like,
work, bro.
maybe you should switch niches.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
yeah,
okay,
yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not
yeah.
gonna take advice from someone who hasn't even ran a business, who hasn't even tried to even booking an intro call for themselves, right? But if I'm in a community that's already doing it, I'll take their advice, because they know that if I'm stuck in this 1 week of not booking intros, I'm definitely doing something wrong. It's not the business, it's not the vehicle that I'm in. It's me, myself, that I'm doing something wrong. So if you just focus on improving yourself, like looking at the output doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
And if you guys had to start over, now that you hit 30K a month, what would you have done differently to hit 10K a month faster? Given that now you guys have golden nuggets, wisdom, experience.
I'd just say lean into who you are. That's it, right? Because before we were trying to be
I'm going to challenge you.
Someone
Explain
else.
that. Explain that as practically as possible for someone.
I would say reverse engineer, right? If you want to make 10K, right? Let's say you're trying to get to 10K. Are you sending DMs? How many DMs are you sending? What's the reply rate on that? How many intro calls are you able to book from that? And try dabbling a little bit with emails, cold calls. See what works. Don't just stick to one thing. Try for a little bit and just get the data, right? Because a lot of what I notice what happens is I'm trying to hit 10K per month, and I don't really know what my intro call booking rate is from DMs. If I don't know that, how am I going to calculate if I'm going to hit 10K per month? So yeah, so you take action, you get the data that these are how many replies I'm getting, these are how many intros, these are how many demos I'm getting, and this is how many demos I need to close one person, right? From there, it's like, okay, I got to send 500 to get
What
one
if the
client.
script is not working at all? Like, I know you guys put a bunch of girls on the Instagram profiles.
that sounds so bad, but yeah, that's exactly what we did.
Like, how do you know, okay, the script is not working or the strategy is not working, let's change it?
Change the offer. Just take a little bit by little bit. So first you want to see, okay, don't look at the whole chunk of like,
But
I'm going to send it.
I'm gonna also challenge you. Don't you feel like you had the biggest jumps when you changed a lot, though?
Well, sometimes we found that we didn't even know what we were changing. Just
Yeah.
changing because someone like because you hear so much about you just got to reiterate. But it's like, okay, but like there was no reason behind reiterating. We're just reiterating shit for like it was really just throwing shit on the wall and hoping it sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I guess that's what you kind of have to do at the start.
yeah, I
right?
think
because you don't know
just
what the
brute
best
force,
offer is.
just figure it out.
You don't know what the best opening message is or the subject line is, right? Just try a bunch of different shit, and then it's gonna click, and then just figure out, like, let's say you have a subject line in email that works, right? Now don't just keep running that subject line. Send those emails, but make 10 different versions of that and test that. Now you're 10 times closer to getting more open rates, right? Just
I think
breaking-
Alex Ramosi also said this too. It's like if you want to learn something really quick, just do a lot of it. If everyone's doing like 10 sales calls, figure out how to do 20. You'll get better 2 times faster.
I think Sergio mentioned the same thing for ads.
Yeah, yeah,
Whatever
yeah,
your
yeah,
budget
yeah,
is
yeah.
for the month, spend that in a week.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we did.
Yeah.
Yeah, like we started a new company, and I spent $2,000 a day right away with zero social proof, zero anything, zero data. We spent like $24,000, still hadn't closed the deal. So, but now we have everything dialed in. Sales teams the show rates dialed in, all the issues that we found out. Oh shit, people don't want this offer. We got to modify it. But we found out quickly.
Exactly.
And then now, it's a $20K offer. So we actually sold two at $10K, now $10K in 30 days. So now technically we're a little bit in the red, and then next month we'll be profitable. And I know not everyone can do that, but you could apply that even with cold calling. You want to get good at cold calling, figure out if your script sucks, make 1,000 cold calls in a week.
Yeah. Brute force.
Brute force. Yeah. I think it's taking action is the main thing, right? That's the main. You fall in this rat race of like, I'm taking action, nothing's coming. That's the main thing that holds you back at the start. But if you just keep taking action, don't focus on the output. Just keep taking actions. Follow the data, read the data, make iterations on that. Right? If I were to sit there and be like,
but also, it sounds like you also want to try a lot of different things too.
Yeah.
You recommend that?
Yes. Try different things.
And then you guys blew up with content. Do you guys think people should create content? I feel like that's still totally untapped
100%.
for specific niches,
Oh,
100%.
yeah. Definitely.
But you don't
Content's
What can you
huge.
share on that?
But don't make, like, what I'm seeing is like, if you go in the marketing space and see what content, everyone's making the same type of content, right? The hook, like his most important thing. Here are 3 ways to make the top most viral hooks, right? And then if you want more information, look at my description. Everyone's making that type of content, right? So if you look at the For You page, there's 10 people, there's one person watching that, it's not going to get views. It's not going to bring anything, right? So you have to find a different angle on it as well, right? For us, it was everyone talks bad about Brampton. We're talking good about Brampton. And what we used to do is we'd have one video that pops off, right? Let's say Brampton is the richest city in the GTA. And then we'll follow it up with a bunch of value videos. Like if you're a gym trainer, we want to get gym trainer clients. Okay, if you're a gym trainer, here's a hook you can use to get more views on your videos, and we'll do the hook. And then what happened is TikTok would suggest those videos, right? So don't focus on just giving value, right? Focus on virality, and then give the value, and then that will actually convert into customers.
Yeah, this is like one of our rules is there's 2 types of content. Content for viewers to get more for traffic, and then there's content for buyers, which is nurturing. So you have, or conversion. So you have traffic and conversion. You need videos to get you traffic, videos to convert.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's all it is.
What would you tell to someone starting out as far as creating content, though, if they're like, I'm just a beginner?
Don't worry about the equipment. Don't worry about the quality of the video. Just use your phone and just, first of all, just
And what
talk.
kind of content, though? Should they be like positioning themselves as an ads expert, what would you do if you're like, I don't know what to talk about?
I guess what we would do for our clients as well is I would tell them, break it up. Think of it as there's a top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, and the bottom of the funnel, right? Create 5 pieces of content that's to a very broad audience, right? So if you're in the dentist, don't talk about dental because you're not going to get any views, right? So if you're in the dentist, talk about just the healthcare industry in general. Then start talking about how you can provide value to that. So when at the top of the funnel, you don't want to provide any value. You just want to talk about things that are happening in the industry, right? Because that appeals to a vast audience. Right now, when you're talking about the middle of the funnel, now you can start putting your 2 cents to it. Like, this is what's happening in the industry, and this is what I would recommend, right? Now you're starting to dial in more of the people in the healthcare industry, right? But the bottom of the funnel, now you can start talking about, if you're a dentist, these are 2 things you should be doing to up your game on ads, right? Now you're sort of dialing it into an actual conversion system.
I think like one of my big recommendations in 2024 for people is going to be to create content. Like I've been telling everyone, if you're in a specific niche, you should go and build a podcast right now for that niche.
Oh, yeah.
And just invite people on it. If you get 20 guests, now you have 20 connections in that industry, even if you're brand new to that space. So
They're probably going to share it on their
like
page.
if you guys start all over again for dentists, imagine if you guys had a podcast where instead of pitching anyone, you just invited dentist after dentist after dentist after
You don't even have
dentist.
to invite them. Just go to their place and be like, I'll make a free video for you. Just want to ask 3 questions. That's it. And just start there. Right?
Wow, that's good. Tell us more about that.
We started is some of our friends have businesses. We used to walk around in downtown Toronto in the what's that station called?
Union Station.
Union Station. I don't go. I'm a Brampton guy. I don't go to Toronto, right? So, at Union Station, there's a lot of restaurants there, and
Bro, this guy barely leaves his house to go to school, you know?
yeah, getting me to Toronto, that's a big thing.
And if he goes out, it's only like 2 hours and he's got to,
Yeah,
go back.
literally. That's all it is. But I would go there, just go to the business owner and be like, I'm trying to make content. For free, I'm going to just ask you 2-3 questions about running a business. Whether it's the manager or the owner, doesn't matter, just take them, right? And then you can go to dentist, go to them, be like, I just want to ask you 2 questions. How do you focus on getting the best dental care for people? And what advice would you give to someone who's starting out in the dental industry? They're going to be more than happy to do that. It's a free video, free marketing for them, even if you have 200 followers.
You could literally create a page called like businesses of your city.
Yeah. There's
And
one guy.
feature it.
Yeah, there's one guy that's doing that very well. He started off with just small little businesses in Toronto. Now the biggest businesses are calling him to come just ask him questions. Right.
Which is it's like a free intro call, but in the flesh where they're coming to you.
Exactly.
They're like, please pick me.
Yeah.
Especially when they come back.
So guys, you just have to get creative. You have to think outside of the box. And I think my biggest takeaway for you guys is anytime that you really thought outside the box and innovated, yes, it was a bigger risk, but also a much bigger reward. I think you can incrementally fix your way to 10K a month, but it could take years, or you could try out 5 radically innovative things.
Yeah.
They might all fail, but if
100%.
one hits, you could
It really
immediately
hits.
scale up.
Very, very interesting story on that.
You have to be an entrepreneur. You have to innovate. You can't just like copy and paste your way to
No,
success.
you can't.
Yeah, a great example of that is when we make content, we try to wear very bright color turbans around the orange shades. And what happened? My cousin went. He just told me this.
It's got to match your Bugatti, right?
Yeah,
That's the Bugatti.
Yeah. when my cousin came over once, and he's like, he was at a dealership in Bramton, and the guy scrolling through the videos on TikTok, he was just standing there with him. The guy works there, and he saw our video, right? And he asked him like, who are these guys? Because he's like, this is my cousin, so he just wanted to see. He's like, oh, some random guys in like orange turbans talking about business, right? And that became our image, and that's how people know us. Guys in orange
Literally everyone
turbans
knows
that
us
talk
as-
about business.
yeah.
So if you're gonna make
Literally-
content, figure out how you can create that staple image for yourself.
You guys
Yeah.
need to be that for the entire, honestly, world. That should be your vision.
That's the goal.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Okay, so I really like this. So if you're starting out, brand new beginner, just go to businesses, offer to create videos for them for free. If you you could even post it on like a businesses of whatever city page, and eventually that'll gain more and more traction. And you can just ask very simple questions, and now you have essentially an intro call. Because then afterwards, how do you transition to like, okay, let me share about what we do?
I wouldn't even pitch to them, right? I
Yeah.
would just use them for content. And my idea is people who are looking for this sort of service, they'll
come to you.
They'll come to you if
They'll
they
come
see
to
that
you.
online, right? I wouldn't even pitch to the people who I'm
Really?
putting out to. Yeah.
Could you at least do a light pitch? Like if you guys ever need content, let us know.
No, never done that.
Yeah, because then I think the biggest thing is when you start coming off, or as soon as you start trying to sell even a little bit, right?
Creates a bad taste.
It's just a little bad taste in the mouth. You know what I mean? So then we actually thought about that, but we're like, you know what? Why don't we just use it to bring traffic to our page? Right? But then design our Instagram so that we're converting the traffic. So we're not selling to these people that we're going to, right? But they will naturally come and be like, oh crap.
I would be very curious. You guys might be 100% right. I'd be very curious to A/B test it. I'd be very curious.
We've never A/B tested that,
we
so
never-
we could.
yeah.
I know that's like a
definitely-
weird A/B test, but like
But
I'm
yeah.
curious because it's like something that I've noticed is like the opposite could be true if you never ask.
We might be
never-
losing a lot of business.
Yeah,
just
like
from that.
like let's say you actually do leave a bad taste in 3 businesses' mouths, but then
Yeah.
you get an extra 20% more clients. Then was it worth it?
Yeah.
I would say so.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Especially if it's a light one. It's like, hey, if you guys ever need anything,
I guess our strategy was like when we make videos with these people or about these people just conclude that these guys are working for them.
Yeah.
So then people that know these guys, they would just come and be like, oh, I saw your video with this guy. Can you help me out as well?
So
Like,
we,
sure.
so our first
That's
strategy.
good too.
Yeah. So in the beginning, we'd talk about businesses that are already blowing up on Instagram. So we made a video series about like, oh, here's how this business is blowing up in Brampton, or here's one marketing tactic this business used to blow up on Instagram. Tactic. My Indian accent came out a little bit. Yeah, right. So what happened was naturally people were just like, oh shit. So wait, are these guys working with these guys? Do they work with them? Oh, whoa, Sardarji just opened up like 5 different restaurants. Wait, do these guys work with them? And then some other restaurant owners are gonna be like, oh shit, I want to open 5 restaurants. They're like, wait, let me just find out what these guys do. Then they hop on an intro call, and then they'll be like,
way
oh,
more warm. Yeah,
yeah, right. And then so we just focused on like creating warm traffic
that's great.
instead of like,
Yeah, I mean, especially when
closing
you
cold.
you guys are maxed out right now, so
Yeah.
oh, we can't
you
handle it.
can't.
I had to like that 30K month. We could have made 50, but it was still just like we had a very small team. I had to say like we had so many intros at one point. We became, to be honest, maybe it was a bad move, but if we even got like a sour taste about a client, we're just like, yeah, no.
onto the
Like
next-
we would
yeah.
be saying no to people inquiring us. Because
I think it's a balance. That's my thought. It's like, let me ask you this. Do you think the same strategy could work for ads, where you go to businesses and you're like, hey, let me make you
an ad.
ads?
Yeah.
'Cause
100%.
when I first started, I went to BNI. It was like a local business networking group, and I would just say, hey, who here wants us to make their ads for free for 30 days? And then that's how we got like our first 5 free trials on that first day of me pitching. People were like, people literally afterwards came and talked to me.
Yeah,
They
that's
were
a
like,
very easy way to get.
I got a
first few
roofer.
clients.
I got a gluten-free bakery. I got a Dr. Hillary and Dr. Topher, my first ever chiropractor client ever that stayed with us for years
And you know what I would say
from that
is
free trial.
if you're gonna do something like that, I wouldn't even niche down into businesses. Do
Yeah,
it for
no.
everyone, and then maybe you'll naturally find out what your style kind of caters towards. Our style didn't really cater towards dentists.
Here's a problem. Here's a fundamental problem. And this is a lesson for everyone.
Okay.
There's this theory of effective versus optimal. So the advice that I give to on YouTube has to be effective for most people. That doesn't mean that it's optimal for the one person. So you always have to ask yourself, well, Joel's giving this advice that's effective generally for most people. But what's the most optimal advice for me? For example, if you're in a city that has a lot of businesses where it's easy to get access, maybe you should just go up and not niche down and have a lot of different businesses. That's how Sergio did it. That's actually how I did it. It sounds like that's how you guys
That's
did
exactly.
it. Maybe something for you guys to try
We
out.
we have a wide range of businesses. The most
Exactly.
weirdest one is a crematorium.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we got everything from like crematoriums
Are you making
to comedy
them go viral?
clubs. They're killing it, bro. They're killing it. Shout out to Bramton
Here's 5
Crematorium
things to
Division.
do after you die.
Yo, they reached out. They're like,
Yeah,
I'm
they
curious to
reached out-
see how your
Yeah.
marketing angle would be.
Yeah, that was our first question. It's just like how like you can't be like, oh yeah, if your dad dies, come to us.
Yeah.
Right?
So
So
like, there's 5 ways to trust a body. Like, you can't.
There's some really good viral content. Okay, so you guys would do it for ads.
Yeah. I would. I would even go and
yeah.
offer them, be like, if you want to like monetize on it, just go be like, I'll make you an ad. I'll run it myself as well. And if I get you 10 appointments or 5 appointments, then we can hop on a plan. Right, but I'll do it
then
for
let's
free.
talk about how you want to move forward. Blah, blah, blah. That would be a very easy way to, especially if you're like if you've kind of nailed it down a little bit. And to be honest, if you're new, it's a really good way to learn how to do it.
You could even pick 3 niches and go to every roofer in your
Yeah.
city, every chiro in your city, and every
Yeah.
dentist in your city.
Yeah.
Do you feel like most
everyone.
people are just afraid to just walk in?
Yeah. A lot of people are just really scared to make the intro call.
But that's what opened me up as well. Is when we would go to businesses and ask them questions.
My question
So
is,
naturally,
how'd you
he's
get him
not
out? How'd you get him out of the house?
Yeah, he's extremely introverted.
If we're going to a restaurant, I'm going, bro.
So like I've always been working
There's
like
food, I'm
sales
going.
jobs, right? So I worked in retail,
Yeah.
right, for like
In
my
high school
my
stuff?
entire time
Yeah,
in
me
like high
too.
school, university, right?
So I
So
worked at the mall for like since I was
Yes.
15.
oh, I worked at Cole Haan, by the way.
Where?
Wait, do you wear Cole Haan? They have ugly shoes, but they're very comfortable.
We're Vans, but
But yeah, so I was very used to like talking to random people. He wasn't, but he was doing the intro calls.
really.
So so like it was just brute force. You just have to talk to like a
What would you
thousand
say to
people.
someone that's like, I want to get 10K a month, but I can't walk in?
Yeah,
You're
have to-
talking like
yeah,
that, you're
yeah.
not gonna hit 10K.
Yeah. You just have to do it. The first few times are going to be horrible. I think you know what it is people walk into like, yeah, but what if this is a potential client and then they never want to sign up with me again, right? That's one of the biggest fears, right? Because they're like, oh, what if I f this up? I'm
There's-
like,
there's-
okay, but there's like a billion like businesses out there.
There's big businesses that reached out to us, booked an
Yeah.
intro call, and we're completely busy, but we're like, yo, we really want to work with these guys, but we can't reach the intro call. We would just be like, screw it, because we know that with our content, they're gonna come and turn around again and come back to us.
And they did.
Which it did. They booked
they did.
intro calls again. But people need to realize that no business matters. They're not gonna stay with you forever, and you have one contact, one bad interaction with them. It does not matter at all.
It sounds like this is a great strategy to land your first client. You go and you add free value, whether it's a free video,
Yeah.
whether it's free ads, free Google review campaign, and then you just walk in and say, hey, can I do this for you guys?
Yeah.
What was your script?
We didn't have. We just kind of walked in.
Yeah.
We'll be like, okay, yo, what are we gonna say? What are we gonna say? And then it's like you just walk in, introduce yourself. Be like, can I do this? Just want to ask you 2 questions and let them reply. That's it. And then
That's
we just
it.
went in.
See what they did. And then we just walked around Union Station, as many stores as we could.
Got a lot of
Eventually-
no's. A lot of people like, no, go away, and don't want to talk to you. But then there's that one person out of 10 people who's like, yeah, let's do it.
And then
So you
even-
guys got a lot of no's on the free stuff.
Oh, a lot
Oh,
of
yeah.
no's on the
That's
free
good
stuff.
for people to know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
talk on that.
just because it's free, it's not gonna sell, right? Because even then, like people are still like, okay, but like I don't want to waste my time.
You're like, it's 30 seconds.
It's like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Like, just
So then don't waste your time. You don't have to have
Yeah.
a full conversation with them. and learn what the whole life is about, you just move to the next store.
Exactly.
That's it.
Just move to the
Like,
next, move to the
all-
next, move to the next.
Okay, so you guys would rather either they're in or out.
They're in
Yeah,
there
they're
out.
either they're in or out.
We still run by that even if
Yeah.
we get a lot of intro calls. It's either you want it or you don't want it. That's it.
You guys could also implement a lot of like door-to-door tactics where if someone
Oh,
says
yeah.
yes, you could be like, hey, this restaurant just did it.
Yeah.
You guys want to do
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
That's not bad.
Hey, you could probably just say that anyways. Like, hey, I just made a video for the guy right next to you
Yeah, I would.
for free. Would you like one too?
Exactly. Then it's like, oh, well, people want to buy what other people want to buy.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So you could use a few things like
There's
that.
so
to-
many ways to do it. It's
and
just
here's a good quote for you guys. People want to buy what other people want to buy that there's a limited amount of.
Yeah.
Or
yeah,
it's
yeah,
very hard to
yeah,
buy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could even just start off with, hey, just for this week, we're going around, and now you've already
Created that scarcity.
exactly. You've already created scarcity.
Or hey, we're going to be here for like another hour, so we only have like 2 or 3 more
Oh, yeah.
businesses we're going to do this for.
Yeah.
We just did
Yeah.
it for this guy
That's better.
next door. Do you want one of those 2 or 3 spots?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. People gotta
If
get a
they
little
say
more
no, you say
proactive.
no, you don't say that. 5 rapid fire questions, a lot of golden nuggets, a lot of value, and then we'll finish off. So, first question: do you guys believe people should start a content agency or an ads agency?
I think you got to look at your skills, right? But definitely content agency if you're trying to not be affected by the saturation of ads.
If you're more creative, then do content. If not, then do ads.
Do you feel like SMMA is actually dead, or people just aren't innovating?
No, they're just not innovating.
Not innovating.
My philosophy is that marketing always evolves, so SMMA can't die. you
Yeah,
know?
exactly. People always need to market their business.
If you
It's
feel
just if
it's
you
a-
sound like every other person, why would I hire you if you're the same person as the last
Basically,
guy?
if you feel it's saturated, you're probably the problem.
Yeah.
Maybe look at yourself and then figure out how can I. Yeah.
This is a different question we haven't talked about. We have a huge Indian audience. Do you feel like it's harder building an SMA from India? Like, what are your thoughts? Because
Building an SMMA from India?
yeah, if you're in India, I've always been very straight up. Like, obviously, it's going to be harder. You've
Ooh,
got
yeah, that's
time,
hard.
time zone difference, like
Yeah.
thick accent. Like, it's
Yeah.
hard.
There's also-
like,
I
there's
think
no,
they're-
I don't want to lie to people, but
100%.
also like there's people in our program that are in India that have been very successful. So,
Mm-hmm.
is it hard? I do believe so, but is it possible? I also genuinely know so.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. I would just say I think the biggest objection would be that the fact that you're from India. Like that's where all these fake call centers are. So if you could find a way to just get over that and just build trust, oh, you'll kill it.
I mean, you could also
Easy.
strategically.
Labor's so cheap there too, yo.
You could also partner with someone in the U.S.
Partner with someone with your. Yeah, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you're trying to, it's like if you're trying to play a U.S. based game or Canada based game, like you're gonna have to modify things. Like just if I
Oh,
wanted to
you know-
build a business in India, I'm gonna have to modify things. Too.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's actually a big one because I think one of the biggest reasons people actually sign up with us is the fact that our team isn't from India. They're like, oh, you guys are local. You guys actually understand our market. Brampton's a very different place. So it's like,
Oh,
oh,
I
you
know,
guys
I heard.
understand Brampton, right? So like, because they'll find people in India. They're like, oh no, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need, and they're just like, bro, it just doesn't work here. So if you're in India and you're having trouble closing people here, find someone that understands the market here, and you'll kill it.
I also think like running an agency is very hard,
Oh yeah,
time intensive, operationally complex. One of the biggest benefits of being in another country is that you can operate on a different time zone, which means you're not going to get distracted all day.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's like the nice thing about SMMA or agencies is that there's 2 parts. There's acquisition and fulfillment. Those are really the 2 arms, right? Getting clients, getting them great results. The getting them great results part can be done while everyone's sleeping, you know?
That's that's the best part, right?
I think
That-
that's what you can focus on too.
I
If
would-
you're from India, don't go full on trying to sell big packages. Just do work for free. Get bunch of really good results for people. And if they give any objection, just be like, look, sure, I look like this, I talk like this, but this is what I can do for you. Like the guys in Canada and America, are they showing you these results? No, they're not. So,
Or build a white label agency.
Yeah.
yeah.
Like if I was in India, I would team up with other agency owners in the United
Yeah.
States.
Help them outsource stuff.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
competitive advantage again.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's what I would do. But I
Yeah.
was curious, any other thoughts? Piece of advice.
Just gotta figure it out. It's possible. Just find your way around it.
Yeah, there's always a way around it. Always.
I always think if my grandpa can come from India, learn French, land a contract speaking in French, like getting around the edge of the objection. Why do you talk like that? That's so easy. It's gonna be easy.
Yeah.
Would you say it's more actually very hard, but doable if you really commit?
Yeah, that's all it is.
Well, if it's hard, then it's probably something worthwhile.
What do you guys think needs to happen to get to 100K a month?
I would say just doing more of what we're doing, volume. So if we're posting 1 time a day, just post 3 times a day, and maybe look for something more consistent like ads. Don't just rely on organic, because organic content can fluctuate in terms of performance, meaning your intro calls will also fluctuate. So if we have something like ads for consistency, that would kind of help.
But on the back end, we also need a more efficient team as well. So building a team and then improving the outbound.
Here's what I would do. I would run an ad in Bramton, just in that area. Yeah, like that's how you double down without having to make more videos.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yep.
I would start creating national content. I would implement a referral system for all of your clients where you pay them for referrals, because it seems like these guys love you. So it's like, hey, refer us, and they know businesses. It's easy. Now you can create a flywheel effect. The other thing that I would do is I would definitely either collect more up front for like 6 months to get cash flow, or have a big setup fee. Like, yo, the first month while we build your strategy to get it off the ground, it's $5K or $10K. Then after that, it's $1,700 a month. And then the last part is going to be you guys are going to get maxed out.
Yeah.
That's going to be the challenge. So
we're already maxed out.
you got to just clone yourself.
So will we just go out and just hire more people?
No, you'd have to figure out where the bottleneck is. Is it in the strategizing part? Like, where's the biggest challenge in duplicating you guys? Is it the strategy? Is it the...
Definitely the strategy. Like, can we take our creativity and put it on like a Excel sheet for someone to be like, okay, I'm gonna spit out these viral scripts for someone.
Is there anyone I would actually innovate. I would do something like creative and be like, hey, Bramton, we're hiring our next 2 creative strategists for our growing agency. We're doing a competition. Submit your video to apply. You're reaching all the college students. You're reaching all the people already in the community that have probably seen your videos. And again, it's different. That's the difference between effective advice and optimal advice. That would not work for anyone else, but for you guys, that would be...
Makes sense, yeah.
I would do something creative like that to just attract talent. Because the biggest challenge with a content agency is that you need to hire thinkers, not doers.
Yeah.
You have to hire people that are like, instead of you telling them, here's how to blow up this brand, they can think that on your behalf.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what we need.
It's very hard to... it's very easy to train when you find someone that has a lot of potential, but it's very hard to train a random person that has 0 potential.
Yeah.
So I would figure out who are all the creative people in Bramton that would want to work for us. How big is your team right now?
Probably 7 people.
7.
Who is that?
All in-house.
Like, what roles?
Oh, okay. So we have
2 scripters.
We got 2 scripters. We have
3 editors.
Yeah, 3 editors.
And then 2 VAs.
Yeah.
Do you pay them per video, per script, or?
So we have 2 people on payroll. So we pay them per hour. So 1 full-time editor, and then I have a full-time scripter, and then
the people who are doing per video subcontractors.
Those are all subcontractors. Though they get paid. So it's like a mix of like per hour, per video. I think the biggest thing we also need is probably hiring or creating like a success management person, right? I think that would really help, because
communication has been a big thing.
Our communication has dropped off a lot. Like when we were in dentistry, right? That was like, if I could give any big nugget, is like, if you suck at what you do and you just communicate with your clients, they will stay like an extra 2 or 3 months.
We had someone stay with us for
4 months,
and we did horrible all 4 months. He only stayed because we were doing bi-weekly check-in calls. Any work we did, we communicated.
Every single thing we did, we communicated. Even when people left us because we were doing such a bad job in dentistry, right? And like in ads and stuff, like in the beginning, you're just gonna do shit, right? So people, when they left, no one ever had a bad word. They'd just be like, you know what? I really, really, really appreciate the communication. And then I really wish this could work. I understand you guys tried a bunch of different stuff, right? Maybe in the future, right? Let's talk about it again. So like there was like no bridges burnt just because the communication was on point. But now
there's 2 keys to retention: results and relationship.
Yeah.
And people ignore that.
We sent them gifts too. That helped a lot.
What would you send them?
Well, on the launch call, we would ask them like what they're interested in. So if they really like coffee, so we just send them like a bag of coffee, 2-3 bags of coffee.
Like hiking, send them like a cool water bottle or something.
Like, yeah, so something that was related. Or if they just like, if they're like, oh, I just like shopping, like, all right, whatever. Here's a
Amazon gift card.
Yeah, so just go buy yourself something.
That's cool. Yeah, I feel like that goes a long way. Rapid fire. Any other golden nuggets?
If you're trying to do content, just talk shit.
Yeah, that always works. That always works. Yeah, just talk shit. So if you want to go viral, do that. If you want to keep your clients focused on communication, like don't be scared to stop hanging out with people that are holding you back. Like very quickly, we cut off people that were not really helping us get to where we wanted to go. or at least we're encouraging us to do it. Because especially when you're starting, it's gonna suck. You don't need people telling you, yo, like try something else, try something else. So that'd be the first thing I would do if you're starting anything.
All right, in the meantime, final things you'd like to say before we clock out, and then where can people find you guys, follow you guys?
Conversate on TikTok, Instagram, and soon YouTube.
Coming soon.
Anything else you'd like to share?
Thank you, Joel, for everything.
Yeah, thank you.
Of course. You guys are awesome. You're welcome to come back anytime. They actually said to me, yo, if we hit 10K in 30 days, you fly us out for the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
They hit it in 60 days, but they were like, oh, we hit it in 30. So I flew them out. But now they're at 30K. So well earned, honestly, guys. You crushed it. And most importantly, the biggest lesson that people, one of the things that holds people back from 100K is that they stop doing the things that took them to 10K, 30K.
Yeah.
And they feel like they're hot shit. You're like, oh, I'm the best. I'm like, even at 100K a month, I'd be probably in the red, like a few 100,000 if I was making 100K a month. So it's like there's levels, you know? And I have friends that are doing 5 million a month, and I'm like, shit. And there's people doing 5 million a day. So
Yeah,
there's levels.
Yeah.
Oh,
Another
Sorry, go
good
ahead.
thing that
Yeah,
just
yeah.
came to mind is never stop acquisition.
Never stop acquisition.
Why did that
Ever.
happen for you guys?
Yeah. And it always ended badly. Always. Always. Not once was stopping acquisition a good idea. Ever.
Yeah,
So
the thing is, you stop it because you're like, oh, how am I gonna take care of all these people? But then now when you turn it on, you got to realize you're not gonna be signing right off the bat, right? It's gonna take some time, right? And let's say your content is now out of date. There's people copying it. Now it's saturated. Now you got to strategize something else, right? So if you just kept it going and just sign those people, put them on a wait list or delay the process or something, just don't stop acquisition.
This very rarely gets talked about, but this concept of pipeline, like you need to build your pipeline. It doesn't have, and deals don't just magically fall from the sky the moment you turn on ads. It can be weeks. People want to think about it. It just takes time. Sales cycles aren't instant.
Yeah.
plenty of times that people hopped on and then they're like, you know what, we'll think about it. And then the second, third, fourth call, they're like, okay, you know what, this is actually solid.
Yeah,
Right?
they keep
So
seeing
it
your
takes
ads.
time. Yeah.
Here's a golden nugget for you guys. If you're running ads, there's a few pieces of content that I think everyone should make immediately. Number one is a VSL that you upload on YouTube. Looks and feels like a YouTube video, but it's actually a VSL. And it's just, you actually send it to someone after they book. You guys could also do this, by the way. You could do this for all of your book calls. So anyone books a call, you send them a VSL. And the whole goal is to get them more sold before the call. Take your top 10 objections and frequently asked questions. So like, what's an objection you guys get?
Pricing would be one.
Okay. Why is it so expensive? Make an entire video on that. And you could literally just address it like you would on a sales call. Well, with pricing, you could either get cheap and low quality or expensive, high quality. So if you want to work with the best, you got to pay up. And now they're like, okay, shit, I want to work with the best. So I would make an entire YouTube video about that. Or it could be short form. It doesn't really matter. And so 10 top frequently asked questions. And then every single time you have a testimonial or a client that's happy, I would actually interview them, because then you could actually ask them questions to handle objections. So it's like, what would you do? What would you say to someone that, hey, this is too expensive? And then they're
Especially
hearing
if that's clipped too.
what's up?
Especially if that's clipped as well, and
So
put that in
this
the.
could also be clipped. This is just like this is all like foundational content.
But it's
for any
amazing
business.
research too.
But then and then it could be clipped for shorter piece of content. So you want to do every single client success interview. You want to have at least 10, ideally, over the course of a long time. And then you also eventually want to create 10 podcast episodes. Ideally, you do it with authorities in your space. If not, you could just do it on your own. And it's, again, just diving deeper on all these points so that if anyone comes into your ecosystem, even if it's through paid ads, they're consuming these core pieces of content that will get someone to convert. We call everyone before their appointment and get them to watch it. If not, you want to get them to watch it after the intro call, before the demo. Okay. And this is also, people are like, I can one call close. Why don't I just one call close? And it's like, okay, well, you could also like, maybe your closing rate's at 20%, but if you say, you know what, I'm not going to let them close right now. I'm going to hold that tension, and I'm going to make them watch these things before the demo. Then maybe your closing rate and your retention over time, because they're more sold on you, goes up.
Mm-hmm. And it's a good it's a qualification process for yourself, for the clients as well. You don't want if you're doing one call close, you're so focused on the close, you don't want the wrong person to come through the door too. Right.
Correct, yeah. When you guys joined Agency Lab, did you know were you pretty aware of Agency Lab? It's a coaching program, like
I
didn't know shit.
Okay.
Like he was like, "Hey, yo, there's this dude." Then I'm like, "Fuck it."
No, his first thing is he looked at the funnel.
Actually, no. Yeah.
Go, dude.
Wait, let me tell you. Okay, yeah. No, actually, He's like, yo, there's this dude. And I'm like, bro, he looks like a scam.
Really?
Yeah.
So
I was like, that
because you did-
funnel? I was like, bro. Like,
That's because
I was like, yo, that funnel, like, it looks so bad. Like, it just looked bad. Like, it doesn't, like, you know,
it
like
looked
traditionally, I'm like looking for a website, right? I didn't even know what a funnel was. So I didn't understand shit,
I
right?
tried to explain to him like, yo, this is just how they look, but they're designed to convert, right?
Dude, they work so well.
I mean,
Yeah.
it converted us.
What I think now is like, if you don't want to sign up, no worries. Like, I have all the data in the world. Like,
Oh my, bro, the help, like the help that you get from, so first off, we were even using the calls wrong too, right? We just used to sit there and just watch everything, right? And then we found ourselves watching all this crap and not doing anything. But what we realized, it's much more smarter to be like, okay, crap, I need help with my sales. Okay, let's go hop on a call with Joe, right? And that kind of mentality switch to help us like really, really leverage everything.
Yeah, someone in my comments the other day was complaining. They're like, I signed up for your
like,
paid
oh,
program.
1,000
and your-
hours
and
of
your,
shit.
and your course for the paid program sucked. I'm like, it's not a course. The
Yeah.
courses are better on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's coaching. It's like,
Yeah,
it's like you learn how to shoot the ball on YouTube for basketball, and then you go practice on the court with a coach. It's
Yeah.
like, hey, maybe modify it a little bit. That's what Agency Lab is.
Yeah.
And you get a lot of other team members to be there by your side to be like, yo, Joel, maybe shoot like this.
Yeah.
Or hey, let's play together. That's Agency Lab. It's not learning
Yeah.
how to shoot the fucking ball. It's giving you a court to practice on with
Yeah.
a coach and other players.
Yeah.
And one of the other things that we're launching also is an agency for agencies. So in
Agency for agency, what?
yeah, in 2024 it might it'll be different, you know. So we'll have Agency Lab, the practice with the coach, the players, but then we'll also run your ads. So that'll be cool.
Oh wow.
That's pretty sick.
Also in 2024, every single course ever is also going to be given away for free. Ever. Like every single piece of,
That's value.
like I'm going to be giving away over 10,000 hours of content in 2024. And like literally the problem right now is having to figure out how to actually get people access to so much, and people are still going to be pissed. And I feel like, you know, for example, Hermosi, I have a lot of respect for Hermosi. He's an incredible entrepreneur, and he really changed the entire online marketing industry. Because I feel like it had a bad connotation, and I feel like he made it authentic and genuine.
Yeah.
But there's also something in it for him, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, he is getting those 13 companies that are going to make him $1 billion. That's the value for him. You know,
Yeah.
it's a win-win. And I know he sells like millions and tens of millions of dollars of books. So
Yeah.
it's
he's
like-
good.
but there's nothing wrong with that. Like that I respect the hell out of that. It just can't be.
When people start
To be hon-
understanding that, their own sales will improve,
Yeah.
right? Because you got to understand, to get something, you got to give something. To give something, you got to get something.
Correct.
Mhm.
And you know, I used to work for a nonprofit, and before that, I worked for an ed tech company. We went around to hundreds of high schools across the country, helping students. I've spoken to thousands of students, teachers, principals, superintendents, all in the United States. And the biggest problem with that company, the biggest problem is they ran it like a nonprofit. And I would tell the CEO all the time, incredible lady, really, really nice, but it was all from her heart, and she wasn't practical, and I feel like that always held us back. And I was very clear, like, this has to be a business where we help people, or a nonprofit where we accept that it's not going to grow like crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's either going to be a business where we charge money, a lot of money, and help a lot of people, thousands, like every single school in America, or it's a nonprofit where we get a donation every once in a while. We get to do a project here and there, maybe once a month.
Yeah.
No, my whole philosophy has been, how can I make money and make a difference? Because then it's a flywheel. It's impossible. Like the whole key is to create the best product you could possibly make. Give people as much potential to win, and then it's on them. You know?
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. People are still not going to
Gonna
take
break
action.
the internet, bro.
No, people are still not going to take action. That's what's
No, yeah.
All right, that's it. Peace out. Much love.